Bernardo Osuna and Okamoto from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, ready for the battle of the baddest. I mean, it sounded good when they were in the ring. I was interviewing Tyson Fury, and he invited Francis Ngannou in to the ring at Wembley. And it's a reality 18 months later, Brett. The grand arrivals happened here in Riyadh. You were there to see the fighters. What was their demeanor?
I mean, Tyson was his usual Tyson self. I mean, a guy can't be more comfortable during fight week than Tyson Fury. I mean, some guys you think maybe they're faking it, maybe they're trying to push their nerves aside. I mean, he's just out there, shirt, like sleeves off, and just like looking like he's having a great time. I mean, he's going through a long line of interviews, but he finds he's been doing it for so long now, and he's such an entertainer. The man's got his own reality show now that I think he just knows how to turn it on, and his energy was good. And one of the things he said that kind of resonated with me is that he's used to all this, and Francis is as well. Francis has been in some obviously big fights in the UFC, but this is a little bit different, I think, for Francis. I think, having the marquee around him, the fact that he wanted this fight so much, it's his first boxing match, so it's just different. Tyson has been here a million times. Francis has been here a few times and also in a very much different capacity. But he was loose. I spoke to his team. His team said he's been loose all week. They said the sparring and the drilling has really kind of sharpened over the last couple of weeks. Of course, that's probably what they're going to say anyway, but I have a close relationship with those guys, and they seem just very laid back, happy to be here. Like you said, 18 months ago, they were standing in the ring with Tyson. Who knew if this was going to happen? Now I think they're enjoying it, and they're ready to go.
And when you look at this fight, I mean, what makes it different from what we saw with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor? We were both there covering that fight. And then what's really in now, these YouTube fighters. And I think the unfortunate part is a lot of people may clump this fight in with the YouTubers, but it's very different.
Yeah, it's like we got three boxes now, Bernardo. We got like the real fights,
right.
Like the purists like me and you like. Then we got the YouTuber fights, and then we have like the hybrid fight. This is the hybrid fight. And unfortunately, it's always going to be the MMA guy going to boxing because they have some familiarity with that. You take a boxing guy, put him into MMA, I mean, the ground game is just going to instantly it's just going to be nothing, right? So it's kind of the one-way street. The MMA guy's got to come over here. It's very similar in my mind to the Conor and Floyd thing. One difference is that Tyson's very much in his prime. I mean, Floyd was coming out 40, retired. Conor, I think, was 29 or so at that time. So, I mean, Francis is 36. He's coming off of a 2-year layoff. He just had knee surgery. So it's like some of the things that you could say in Conor's favor, that first one you can't even say in Francis. Literally the only thing you can say about Francis is the power and the fact that this guy has defied the odds literally his entire life.
I think that's the beauty of it as a non-MMA guy. When I look at the story of Francis Ngannou, you can't help but admire what he's gone through, as an immigrant, going from Cameroon through Europe, first Morocco, I mean, sleeping in the forest. The story, like, you couldn't even make it up if you tried. Can't. I mean, and yet here he is 6 years later fighting the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. How does he not just say, I won already? Mm-hmm. And if so, like, how can he come away with the win knowing that his punching power has been measured at almost 93 horsepower?
Like you said, he's already won, and I think he's kind of put that into words. I kind of pressed him on that a little bit when we were in Vegas, and I said, is there any way that you can lose, though, like really lose? Like, is there anything that can happen out there that would be so bad that you'd be like, dang, man, even all the money that is filling these pockets does not make up for it? And he said, I've been telling people that I can box and that I want to box since I was 10 years old. So if I go out there and I don't show people that I have boxing skill, I will feel like it was a loss. And that to me makes sense. A guy who's, was in a small village in Africa saying, I'm going to be a boxer someday, and everyone's telling you, no, you're not. That's kind of stuck with him. He wants to go out there and at least put on a good showing, but I do think there is that idea that he's already won. One other difference, I think, one difference between this and the Conor McGregor and Floyd one is that one really felt like kind of MMA and boxing, like everyone was taking a side. This one, it doesn't feel like that. And maybe that's just because Francis is really likable. Like you said, the boxing people are like, man, how can you root against this guy? But that is one thing, man. There seemed like that was animosity and boxing versus MMA, and this one just feels like more of like kind of a friendlier event. Right?
You know what? I always thought, like, in my mind, I could see Conor McGregor like throwing a kick or taking down Floyd at some point. Like, I don't even see that being remotely possible in this. This is two gentlemen who respect the sport. What about the Mike Tyson angle? Because, one guy in Tyson Fury is named after Mike Tyson, yet he's going to be looking across the ring. And the story of, Francis Ngannou going to an internet cafe to see Mike Tyson clips on YouTube, and all of a sudden he's in his corner. I mean, the world of Ngannou is just ridiculous.
It's like you said, if you sent the script to Hollywood, they'd be like, this is too unbelievable. This guy, his idol, his childhood hero was Mike Tyson. He did not even know what Mike Tyson looked like. He just heard stories about him, so he had an idea in his head. I think it's hard for us to even wrap around just the life of Francis Ngannou. Like, we've talked to him about it, we've heard about it, but we still can't comprehend it and how far he's come. So to have Mike Tyson in his corner, I mean, he said that that's when the fight truly felt real. Like, he's been doing things that shouldn't be real his entire life, really, over the last 10, 15 years. But he's like, it's one thing to sign on the dotted line, and I got to fight with Tyson Fury in Saudi Arabia in a few weeks. That's going to happen. But then when I look over and see Mike Tyson there, the guy that I close my eyes and like, man, I want to be Mike Tyson. It's incredible for Francis, of course, and then Tyson's been asked about it, and he loves it too. He loves that Mike Tyson is here, and of course he's a big fan of Mike Tyson. So the fact that Tyson is here, it's just a fun event. That's what I say. It's kind of just a fun feeling around this entire event.
I know we're going to get a spectacle. I mean, we've already seen the spectacle of being here in Saudi Arabia, and from the boxing side, we look at it like, all right, this is going to be another exhibition for Tyson Fury, because if you look at the Chisora and White fights, I mean, they were really just easy fights for him to win. That's how we see it on this side. We respect the punching power of Francis Ngannou. How is it seen on the MMA side?
I think the same. I think that in MMA, we're more familiar with just the stupid power of Francis Ngannou, where it's like, you got to watch the replay 3 times to see what he even hit him with. He's like, that put him out? I mean, at one point against Jairzinho Rozenstruik in 2020, he just sprinted across the cage, and I still don't even really know what he hit him with. I mean, he has the kiss of death type power. So I think the MMA fans are aware of that. They say, hey, maybe once in a million years, he's going to land that shot. But I think people are more or less educated at this point. They saw the Conor Floyd fight. Tyson is expected to win, of course, but this is a dream fight for Francis Ngannou. And hey, man, heavyweights fights happen, weird things happen. Mike Tyson is here, and he is part of the biggest upset in combat sports history. So things happen, but yes, I think everyone is anticipating that Tyson should have his way in there.